And now, News 4's Weather Extra with meteorologist Ryan Duggar.
Welcome to Weather Extra, everyone. I'm joined here by my trusty buzzer as David is having the night off. But we're getting into more of the seasonal outlook. We've just transitioned into spring, and actually the Climate Prediction Center has actually released their outlooks for temperature, precipitation, and also the drought monitor of what we can see for the next few months. I asked meteorologist Zach Webster to give us a little rundown.
Spring started earlier this month, and it's already gotten off to a pretty warm start out across the southeast. We'll take a look at what we could expect to see from both temperatures and rainfall as we head throughout the spring, and then we'll take a look at what that could mean for drought conditions across the country as well. Everywhere where you're seeing orange or red showing up on this map, that is where it's the most likely that we'll see above normal temperatures throughout the spring, and that's the case for a pretty good portion of the country, especially out across the desert southwest, stretching from Arizona through New Mexico and into western Texas. That same area also expected to be pretty likely that we'll see below normal rainfall as well, especially the case out across the Four Corners region. A little bit of a different story out across the Ohio River Valley and the Great Lakes, where it looks to be likely that we may see above normal rainfall. Equal chances that will be above normal or below normal for rainfall out across the southeast. Then for that drought monitor outlook, it looks like drought conditions continue to persist out across the desert southwest and a pretty good portion of the plain states as well. We may also see drought developing kind of in the gaps in between that. Farther out across the southeast, things looking pretty good there as far as drought goes. Drought is not expected to develop out across the southeast.
Hey, that's what I like to hear, a little bit more of those drought conditions really lessening as we've still been pretty dry for the past several months. And we're going to be seeing more of that warmth. This is a look over 10 days out. Tomorrow, temperatures crossing into the lower 80s, but we'll continue to see warmth building in between some of those rain chances that we'll likely see this weekend. That's kind of why you see more of those 60s back in Birmingham for Saturday. But taking a look farther to the west, eastern Texas, especially as that rain moves out, can still see middle to upper 80s, maybe even some places in the 90s where there is some pretty intense sunshine. So that's going to help with some more of that warmth into early next week. Then we have that push of energy that can make its way in that will likely allow for our chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms again on Monday. So that's why, again, we're seeing a little bit more of that cooler air, especially for our area. Likely going to be seeing temperatures around the middle to upper 70s, but it will quickly rebound once we see a little bit more of those winds start to turn a little bit more southerly. By middle of next week, we could maybe even see temperatures well into the lower to middle 80s. I know for March, typically, we see more temperatures or highs in the middle 80s for really certain dry, hot days. And so more days like that are on the way, especially as we're getting close to transitioning into summer. It's only a couple of months before we see more of those 90s as well. And for rainfall, this is one model as well. We're watching out for more of that rain to continue making its way through, but you can see that bottleneck right here for the Ohio River Valley. That lines up with the precipitation outlook, and hopefully with the rain that we do see this week, maybe we can get a little bit more. We're always welcoming it. But don't go anywhere. We're actually going to be looking a little bit more at the severe weather chances with this setup just after the break.
And now, News 4's Weather Extra.
Welcome back to Weather Extra. If you were out late like I was getting home, you definitely noticed the fog developing pretty early throughout our area. You can see as I'm stopped by the stoplight making a haze for all those lights, and those cars making their way down the circle, they really disappeared in less than like 50 yards. And so that fog was very dense, and I hope everyone had a very safe commute as we saw that fog this morning. But now we're going to be transitioning to really more looking for those shower and thunderstorm chances into this weekend. And so that's what we're going to be watching out for. More of those convective thunderstorms making their way through parts of Texas. And then that energy pushes off to the east, likely going to be arriving around our area late Saturday night into early Sunday morning. There can be a few showers and thunderstorms, but taking a little bit of a break before we see another batch of energy roll in likely Monday, and that can provide another round of showers and thunderstorms. And the same can be said for Tuesday afternoon. Maybe some moisture and energy making its way in along the Gulf Coast. coast. So while this is providing multiple days of where we could see scattered showers and thunderstorms, the rain is always welcome as well. But in terms of severe weather chances, we're always looking out for the potential energy and also upper level winds. And so that is in the orange right there. The upper level winds in that cape is kind of that faded green color here. So where they overlap, that's where you want to be watching out for severe weather. And we see that orange color over parts of Georgia and Alabama, but where we do have that energy, more of those upper level winds making their way farther to the north. And as we continue on into Sunday, where we see a little bit more of a better chance for a few showers and thunderstorms for early Sunday, we have a little bit more of that energy. But we really see the energy go up here for Sunday afternoon into the evening. That's likely because we see a little bit more sunshine, but not a ton of rain coverage. And then getting into Monday, where we have that next batch of energy make its way in from the northwest. That energy is there, but now we don't really see upper level winds in sight. So in terms of watching out for the chance for tornadoes and damaging wind gusts, not going to be too likely, but where this energy can really localize, we want to be watching out for the potential for very tall storms. And that could spell lightning and hail, and also individually some wind gusts within certain storms, depending on how big they can get as well. And the whole other reason that we are watching out for severe potential into spring is just because of how prevalent we get to see more tornadoes from March into April. The average amount of tornadoes for Alabama is around 9 for this month, and off to Texas 15. But once you get into April, that all changes, especially for areas farther to the north. 13 on average for parts of Kansas, 14 Oklahoma, Alabama jumping from 9 to 16, and then Mississippi matching that as well. So more areas where we can see more of that energy and those upper level winds. The trough that we watch out for, those upper level winds, continues to dive farther to the south, and when it overlaps with the energy that continues to make its way back in, that could spell more severe outlooks, or excuse me, severe outbreaks similar to what we had around 2 weekends ago. And so that was really big event for Mississippi. We're going to be watching out for the potential for Alabama and other states as we get into April. It's going to be likely a busy month, but we'll be watching out for that. But that's it for Weather Extra tonight. We'll be sure to have more for you tomorrow. Until then, have a great night.